Hi babes, welcome back to our channel. My name is Clarissa and this is part 2 of our Acrylic for Beginners series. This video is going to be great for the beginner who's just getting into the acrylic application and would like a step-by-step tutorial. We're covering everything that you need to know from prep all the way to the top coat. If you still need help with your liquid to powder ratio, head over to the first video where I share all of my tips and tricks and everything that you need to know before you actually start acrylic application. We have a lot to cover today, so let's go ahead and get started. First, let's go over what products you're going to need to get started. You will need your acrylic powder, colored acrylic powder, monomer, which will react with the powder, an acrylic brush, a dehydrator, a primer, nail tips and nail glue if you're looking to do an extension, nail files, buffer blocks, and a top coat. Okay everyone, so I have my model here with her hands already washed and sanitized, and I'm going to start by pushing back her cuticles to expose some of that dead tissue underneath. And I'm just going to grab my cuticle pusher and gently push them back. Make sure that you're not pushing too hard and that you also go in at about a 45-degree angle. So not too deep like this and not too parallel to the nail like this, because you can slip and hurt your client. Now you can see all the dead tissue that is revealed, and keep in mind that this is one of the main reasons for nails lifting around the cuticle area, so you really want to make sure that you remove it completely. So to do that, I'm going to grab my Sky cuticle drill bit and set my drill at a speed between 3 and 5. And I'm just going to go around the cuticle area, removing all that dead tissue. Okay, now moving on to step 2, which is applying the tip. Now that the nail bed is prepped, we're going to go ahead and size the nail tip to her nail. I'm checking to make sure that it fits perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. You don't want it to be hanging over the edge, but you also don't want it to be too small because that's going to increase your chances of lifting. You also don't want to force it down because it can snap back up and cause some lifting. So fit it perfectly from sidewall to sidewall and glue it to the nail. You want to place it right about here so that you have enough nail bed area to build a proper foundation. Now that we have the tips applied, it's time to trim and shape them. My client wants a medium coffin shape today, so I'm just going to trim the sides to make it easier on me later. Now before I go in with my file, I do want to prep it to avoid cutting my client. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but files are really sharp when you get them, so I just used another file and I run it along the edges to get it ready for my client. Now that I prepped the files, I'm ready to start shaping, and the reason I like to shape the tip before applying acrylic is because it's going to eliminate me having to do it once the acrylic is already applied, and it's much easier and faster to do it this way. Okay everyone, the nail is perfectly prepped and the tip is shaped exactly how I want it. So I'm going to grab my sanding band and gently file the area where the tip meets the natural nail. The goal here is to blend them both together, so remove this little ledge and also remove the shine from the nail tip for proper retention. Okay, so all of our nails are prepped and they're ready, so I'm going to go in with my dehydrator and I'm only applying it to the natural nail bed. Once that's dry, I'll go in with a primer and I'm also applying that only to the nail bed. Now we're ready to start with our acrylic application, and I always like to start by applying a thin layer of the Sky all-in-one clear powder. That's before I apply any color to the nail bed. Make sure that you don't apply near the cuticle, because when you do your final filing around that area, you could file the pigment color away and then you'll be able to see the clear underneath. That's not what you want, so just a little bit away from the cuticle. I like doing this method for a few reasons. One, it helps when my clients want to do a fill or color changes because all I have to do is file down to this clear layer. And two, it helps make my nails stronger because clear is the strongest acrylic out of all of them. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you 3 different techniques that I like to use for beginners, and you can just do the one that you feel most comfortable with. The first method I'm going to share is called a 3-bead method. And this method splits up the nail into 3 different zones. This is the first area and it's called the free edge. Here in the middle you have your apex, and the third area is the cuticle area. Okay, so I'm going to start off by placing my first bead on the free edge and start working it down with the body of my brush. Today I'll be using this color from Sky's new all-in-one collection, and this one is called Wifey Material. Now the second bead is going to be placed right in this middle zone to help us build the apex. So again, you want to work it down with the body of your brush and slowly work it down to the free edge. The last bead will be smaller and it will be placed in the third zone, so about a hairline or 2 away from the cuticle. And there it is, a 3-bead method. The second method is a 2-bead method, and this one separates the nail into 2 different zones. So you have the free edge / apex zone, and then you have the cuticle area. For this method, I'm going to place my first bead right in this first zone, and I'm going to make my way down to the free edge. Again, make sure that you're using the body of your brush to keep your sides sharp so that you don't have to do a lot of filing later. For the second bead, I'll be placing it about a hairline away from the cuticle. Just make sure that it doesn't touch your skin. And then I'll slowly work the acrylic down to the free edge, making sure that I concentrate most of the product in this apex area. The last method I'll be sharing with you is a 1-bead method. This will help you build an entire nail using just 1 bead, so you'll want to pick up a larger bead than normal. For this, you'll want to start about a hairline or so away from the cuticle, and again, using the body of your brush, you can work the bead down to the free edge. You can also point your client's fingers down so that the product can make its way down much easier and faster. Comment down below letting me know what method you prefer to use, a 3-bead, a 2-bead, or a 1-bead method. Alright everybody, so I have my color acrylic down, and now it's time to clear cap. This just means adding a thin layer of clear powder on top to protect the color underneath. Just grab a small to medium sized bead, depending on the length of the nail, and make sure that you cover every nook and cranny. Now that I'm done, I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes, and keep in mind that if you are in a cold space, your acrylic will take a little bit longer to dry than if you were in a warm space. You can tap the nails, and if you hear a clicking sound, they're pretty much good to go. My client's nails are now dry, so I'm going to use an 80 grit hand file to clean up the shape and sharpen those edges. And you can see it's so much easier now because we already pre-shaped the nail tip exactly how we want it. To smooth out the nail, I'm using Kira Sky's large barrel smooth top bit in a fine grit, and I set my speed in my drill between 3 and 5. I love this drill bit for beginners because the rounded tip makes it so easy to get close to the cuticle area without cutting or burning your clients. I'm going to finish it off by buffing away any imperfections, and here it is, a gorgeous and perfect acrylic nail set. If you want to add any gel art or designs, I recommend doing it now before you apply your top coat. You guys know I love my bling, so I'm adding a few of Kira Sky's Bling It On rhinestones, and these are called Northern Lights. They're so freaking sparkly and shiny and so reflective. I'm so obsessed with them, and if you want to get your hands on them, stay tuned because they will be launching February 2021. To finish off the set, I'm using my favorite top coat ever. The Kira Sky's non-wipe top coat is amazing and my holy grail because it's soak off and non-wipe, so you don't have a sticky layer after curing it and there's no need to wipe. I'm going to cure that under my Beyond Home LED lamp for 60 seconds, and that is it. The last and final step is cuticle oil, so make sure you apply it on your client's nails after every single set. Not only to make them look super pretty, but to rehydrate the cuticle area as well. Here I'm using the new Kira Sky cuticle oils, and this one is in the natural scent. And there it is, besties, a gorgeous acrylic nail set from start to finish. I hope you found this video helpful and learned something new.